Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, July 19th, 2021 meeting of the Woodbridge Board of Police Commissioners and Woodbridge Traffic Authority. We'll begin the meeting with the Board of Police Commissioners. The first item on the agenda are election of officers and subcommittee appointments. So the position that's open is just the vice chair. Janice?
It would be vice chair, yes.
Okay. Well, before we accept nominations, is there anyone that has a desire to serve as vice chair?
I have a desire to serve as vice chair.
Okay. Is there a motion to, is there a nomination of Andy Esposito as vice chair of the Police Commission?
I'll do that.
Steer, thank you. Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Dr. Freed, is there any discussion? All those in favor of Mr. Esposito being nominated as vice chair? Passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What subcommittees are available, Janice?
Well, we should just see, we normally ask if people want to continue. So we need 2 people for the budget subcommittee and 2 people for the personnel subcommittee.
I'm happy to stay on personnel. Budget is certainly not my strength. Personnel kind of is. So
Okay, I would agree. Andy, are you currently on budget?
I'm currently on budget. Yes, I am.
You stay there?
I think I'll stay there. Yeah.
Mike, do you have a preference on, or Dr. Sear, have a preference on which one you'd prefer?
I could be on either, but I think I'll stay on personnel.
Okay. So, Mike, you'll be on the budget committee with Andy.
Okay.
Are there any other appointments that we have to make tonight?
No, there aren't.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the June 21st meeting. Is there a motion to approve that?
so moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? So everyone is eligible to vote except for Mr. Shenbaum. All those in favor?
Aye.
One. Debbie, I don't see. I see you. Okay, that passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda are the public comments. Janice, did you receive any correspondence from the public, or has anyone expressed a desire to speak tonight?
No one contacted me.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is the financial report.
Okay, in regards to last year's fiscal year's budget, the finance department's working on closing out fiscal year 2021. Looking where we were at near the end of June, we should finish out the past fiscal year remaining within budget. And currently, as you know, we're just a couple weeks into the new fiscal year. So at this point, most of the expenditures thus far are contractual related stipends and mandatory operational requirements, such as the annual dues, contract renewals, encumbrances, and purchase orders. So really not too much to report on that.
Is there any questions about the financial report? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the financial report?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? That's
Aye.
unanimous. I just have to get all the screens. Thank you all. Next item on our agenda is the activity report.
I'll start with criminal activity for last month. The investigation by our detectives in conjunction with the state police, Central District Major Crime, that shooting death that occurred on June 7th at the Pease Road Playground, continues to be moving forward, and it remains very active. As I sent out some information to you at the beginning of the month, on July 1st, they arrested a 24-year-old male connected with the incident and charged him with felony murder, robbery in the first degree, and larceny in the second degree. As they continue their investigation, and more recently, working close with New Haven PD and the State Police SWAT team, they were able to execute additional search warrants. And on July 11th, they also arrested a second subject that was involved with this crime for larceny second at this point. So there's not too much more that I can say about the investigation, not to interfere or compromise what's going on. So I can't release much other information other than to say that all those investigating this have been working tirelessly and continue to make great progress. And hopefully I'll have more to report in the near future on that. Last month, we had a bomb threat. This is actually at the end of June, the 22nd, at the JCC on Amity Road. And a caller referenced bomb being on the premises, along with some other racial and anti-Semitic rhetoric. The building and the fitness center, the day camp, were all evacuated and searched by our personnel with the assistance of the fire department and canines and personnel from the state police, New Haven police, and Yale University bomb squads, and also personnel from the FBI. And the area was subsequently deemed safe, and our detectives are working with representatives of the FBI and the Joint Terrorist Task Force to identify the origin of the call, and part of a bunch of calls that have been going on across the country. We had a burglary at the end of June on the 28th at about 2:20 in the morning. Commercial burglary at a Lucy Street business. Subject threw a large rock through the front door, made entry, stole cash register, and scene's been processed, and we're waiting on some forensic evidence and sharing some photos with local law enforcement to try to identify a suspect. Then a couple of fraud investigations. One involving a civil dispute and one some internet fraud. Theft of mail from a residence in town, mail from a mailbox that they're looking into. And we had a couple more theft of catalytic converters from a service repair shop on Amity Road during the middle of the month. Let's see. As far as criminal arrests during the past month, on June 9th, they had a trespassing complaint up at Sperry Park, and they ended up arresting a party there for possession of marijuana, and was found to be in violation of a protective order. On June 13th, they made an arrest of a female, actually a 15-year-old female, that was operating a stolen motor vehicle out of Hamden, and they ended up catching her down at the Litchfield Turnpike and then over onto Lily Avenue there. And that was a juvenile. And on June 23rd, they served an active arrest warrant for a suspect that had been involved in a previous motor vehicle accident. And during that time, he was also operating another stolen vehicle. And on June 29th, they served an arrest warrant on a party that was involved in an indecent exposure, disorderly conduct type incident that occurred at a local business back in 2020. During the past month, as far as ISU goes, they have 5 new cases. Well, they have the homicide, Pease Road. They had one sexual assault that was investigated and was able to be closed out and unfounded. And they received a second sexual assault investigation involving 2 victims, which is currently ongoing. They're working with the FBI on that incident at the JCC that I mentioned, and they're also working on the burglary that I mentioned. They had a couple prior cases. They had arrest warrants signed for 2021 January mail theft check fraud from a resident in town here. And they also executed an arrest warrant, second one of 2 that was served regarding a carjacking, armed carjacking that had occurred out on Litchfield Turnpike. And during the arrest of the homicide suspect, the first homicide suspect there, they also executed 5 arrest warrants that were outstanding for him. And that's all on the criminal activity. And as far as the traffic activity report, traffic enforcement over the past couple of months has increased somewhat from where it was during the past several months and as it was throughout the pandemic. Last month, Patrol performed 401 traffic radar assignments, 386 deterrent traffic enforcement post assignments. And regarding traffic accidents, they decreased from that of the past 2 months. We had 15 crashes reported during June. Only 1 with injuries, thankfully, and 11 no injuries, and 3 were evading. People fled the scene, but nobody were apprehended. And that's all for activity report.
Are there any questions anyone has of the chief regarding the activity report?
Yeah, geez, thank you. Is it, I don't know what we're allowed to know, but the Pease Road murder, it sounds like suspect 1 was from New Haven, 2 I don't think you specified, but the person who was killed, do we know where they're from? Is that public? I just realized.
Yes, that came out. So the first, the victim was a 33-year-old male from West Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And the first arrestee was a 24-year-old male, and he was kind of transient, but he had a Derby address, but we located him staying up in Waterbury. And the second person that was arrested there is a New Haven resident.
And so is it considered a sort of personal thing that these are 3 people who knew each other? I mean,
no, two of them knew each other.
And the other was a
encountered the victim. Yeah.
Victim who was moved to Woodbridge. I mean, because it was.
He was brought to Woodbridge.
Right. Sort of abducted, and that's something like that.
Yeah, I can't really say too much.
He was killed on Pease, right? He was killed here, right?
Correct. Yeah, the incident happened at that evening.
Right. Yeah.
The body was found the early morning hours the next day.
Right. Thank you.
It did happen there.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions of the chief? Is there a motion to approve the activity report?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, it passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is the report of the chief.
I just had one topic that I just want to bring to everyone's attention. So as I reported back at our March meeting, the phase 2 upgrade of our IT network, which includes the replacement of our servers and other hardware, et cetera, was approved by the Board of Selectmen back in February and planned to be moved forward in the near future. You know, as I mentioned before, and we've been talking about it for years now, but we've been trying to make do and are struggling with ongoing and frequent IT issues almost on a weekly basis. And I just want to bring out that last week we had 2 days in a row that our servers were completely down and were paused as they were overloaded and they ran out of storage capacity. So that, you know, nonetheless created a lot of problems and delays of every aspect for our operations in daily business, including dispatch, investigations, and administration. TBNG has worked on it and they're able to remedy the problem temporarily, and they're monitoring it for now. And they're trying to move forward with the project. They've encountered some delays due to equipment shipping and availability, you know, having to do with the pandemic, but they plan to start the project soon. And we're hopeful that there won't be any further delays pushing the project out, because it's really, we're at the point now where we're really you know, very critical for us at this point. And they're aware of it, and so we're trying to work through that. And they've also identified that we have several computers that need upgrading to newer versions of their operating systems to prevent us from being hacked or compromised with something, you know, like a ransomware attack or something of that nature. And they determined that because of the age of the computers, they're out of warranty and they're beyond their useful life. So they recommend that rather than replacement, it would be a stronger strategy to, it would be a stronger strategy to replace them than try to upgrade them. So we're working with the finance director and TBNG on a solution to that. And that's all I have for my report.
We also need to approve Chief's report. Is there a motion to approve?
Wait, can
May I ask a question?
I have a question too.
Where are we with the renovations of the space out front?
Dispatch area.
Yes.
Yep. So we, as we voted on it at that meeting, and not too much has been done with it. I did discuss it with the finance director, and I let him know that the board voted to approve moving forward with it, and we had your support on that, and he was going to share that with the first selectman, and then go from there. I haven't heard anything further. I'm still waiting to hear if they're doing some follow-up work on that.
Funds are available, Frank, right? You were told the funds were available.
Yeah, some of the funds are definitely available, and Tony said he has access to other sources. And
All right, so
correct,
funds.
yes.
I just had a question about looking at the budget, and obviously we need to safeguard the computer systems. Are the line items that are pertinent to fixing the computers just called computer, but also data processing? Because there's something less than $9,000.
No, there's one computer line that's for new equipment. And
Okay.
then, the data processing line, that's a different one. So, but the one we're going to have to come up with funding to purchase new ones. That was one line that did get cut. I think we had like 15 or 16,000 in there, and I think it's down to 8 or 9. I have to check. That's
Okay.
the one you're referencing. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
So I believe there was a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the report of the chief? I see everyone's hand raised. Thank you. Yes.
Hey, Rob, who made the motions? Janice needs to know.
We just did.
No,
Oh,
but who was it?
I think, Andy, you made the motion or you seconded it?
I thought I made the motion.
Yeah, Andy made the motion. I think Dr. Fried seconded it.
Seconded it. That sounds like something I would do.
Thank you.
Certainly. The next item on the agenda is the request to carry over vacation time for the chief. So as a group, I think everyone remembers that we had decided that we're not going to do this. We're not going to carry over vacation time. This is a unique request only because Frank has been operating without a deputy for some time. He's been doing double duty and he was unable to take vacation time to his detriment. I don't think he should be punished because of that. This is a unique situation. I think we can carve out an exception, and I would encourage the other commissioners to vote to accept him to be allowed to do that.
I just asked a question. Yeah, I'm in favor of carving out the exception, but did we decide to do that or the town decided to do that?
Other departments had done it.
Okay.
We chose to follow along.
I think it's perfectly reasonable to carve out an exception.
In this situation, yes, I think so.
Need a motion?
Yes,
I
please.
think we do, yes.
I'll make a motion.
And a second, Dr. Fried. Is there any discussion from anyone? All those in favor? 1, 2. That passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is extended absences. Frank, I'm not sure if you can address
There
them.
were just a couple of people that are going to be out. I just want to make the board aware. So we have a sergeant and a patrolman who are both out on work-related extended absences for medical-related issues. So they'll be out the remainder of July and into August. Currently, they're using their accrued sick time. Although one has requested workman's compensation, which is currently under review by the town's insurance carrier. But just to make you aware, there will be a bit short-staffed as far as that goes.
These injuries sustained on
One is not, and one is being investigated. It's claimed to possibly be work-related. So So that's for workman's comp to decide.
Who's investigating that?
The town's insurance carrier,
Is it being investigated factually or from a medical standpoint?
probably both.
Okay.
But that's why I just wanted to give you a heads up on that that's going on.
Is there a motion to adjourn this segment of our meeting tonight regarding the police commission?
I move we adjourn the police commission.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Welcome to the Woodbridge Traffic Authority. First item on our agenda is the public comments. Did you receive any correspondence, Janice, or is there anyone that you understand wishes to be heard tonight?
No, there are not.
Thank you, Janice. There's one item on our agenda, the Air Temple.
Yeah, so we received an additional request from the Air Temple Arts down at 11 Research Drive, once again, to use the cul-de-sac there for their staff and students for another outdoor performance, just like the two they had last year and the two that were recently approved for May and July of this year. They're looking to do it again or plan to do it on September 18th at 2 p.m. or in the event of rain on September 19th. And the details are all the same as before. They'll set up a stage and a portable aerial rig. They'll get permission of the property owners. They'll ensure social distancing for those that want it. And all the past events have gone off without any type of problems or nothing reported to us and no incidents. So I just present the request to the board for your consideration.
Frank, is there any reason why we should not approve this?
No, not that I know. There hasn't been any problems whatsoever.
So for what it's worth, September 18th is a Saturday, the rain date's a Sunday.
Correct.
Is there a motion to approve the outdoor circus?
So moved.
Second.
And there's a second. All those in favor? And I don't see Mr. Shanbrough. Yeah, all those, it passes unanimously. Our final item is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you all. Good night. I'm not sure whether we're going to have an August meeting. It's dependent upon if we have any urgent matters. We normally don't meet in August. And
Liaison from the finance.
welcome, Mr. Shanbrough, and congratulations, Mr. Esposito.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Ellen, nice seeing you. Good night, everyone.